Hi, I'm Michael Burton with michaelburtonfilms.org, located in Salt Lake City, Utah, and we're here talking about how to use Microsoft Windows. Now I want to talk to you about how to organize your computer files. There are many different ways to do this, and the reason why that's important is because when you're searching for a file or you need to keep organized, it's important to keep organized, especially if you're running a business or you're trying to keep track of multiple files at another place of business. It's very important to keep your files organized. So I'm going to show you a few tips on how to do that right now. Let me start out by saying that Windows XP is a registered trademark of Microsoft, and I am in no way affiliated with Microsoft. There are a lot of ways to organize your files on your computer. I think the easiest, simplest way to start out with is just to be efficient in labeling and naming your files and keeping them in separate folders. The more folders you create, the better your stuff is going to be organized, because you'll be able to specify exactly what those folders are called. You can have folders within folders. You can label any of your files anything you want. I tend to not even keep stuff on my desktop. As you can see, it's pretty bare just because I love to file things. So if you go into my Start menu, I have everything separated into folders, and this actually isn't my everyday desktop that I'm using. I'm only using it for this video, but my regular desktop has everything organized into folders here under My Documents, and I have 20, 30 folders with then I have subfolders built into these folders, and so it's an unlimited potential as to how many folders I can create and what I can label things as. A few tips on how to label files. For example, let's take this HD opener. If I want to rename a file, one of the easiest ways to get your files to appear at the top of a list is to start them off with an AAA and then label it. Let's just say labeled file. That way you know if this is your most commonly used file, or you have certain files that are in a folder with a ton of files, that your most used files are always going to appear at the top, and you're not going to have to scroll down every time to where, in this case, it would be the L's to find your labeled file. It would automatically appear at the top all the time. Again, the same goes for if you want files that you don't use too often to always appear at the bottom, and not necessarily alphabetical order either. Because, for example, you can either choose to file your files in alphabetical order. For example, under My Documents, if I were to come over to this drop-down list, I can choose to list or to use the details of my files. And I always choose to list, but if you want to do details, this actually separates it into up here the name of the file, the size, the type of file, and the date modified. So you can actually click on date modified and have it modify it by the date that the file was created. You can also do it by type, and it'll put it basically in alphabetical order of the type. You can also choose to put in alphabetical order of the name, and that's why the AAA and the ZZZ is so important, because, for example, if I put this in My Documents and I click refresh, it'll automatically put my file at the top of the list of the files. Now, if I had a folder and I wanted a folder to appear at the top of the folders, it would be the AAA folder. But that's a way to keep it on alphabetical order, and to organize files that if there's ones that you want to appear at the top all the time, just put an AAA before it. Another good way to label your folders or your files is, let me pull this out to the desktop, is to just be thorough. Dating them is very important. Like, for example, let's say labeled file. Let's do an underscore, and then we'll put in the date today, which is, what is the date today? Today is the 21st of August. So we're going to put, 08 underscore 21st, and that's going to be 2008. So by using underscores, we can label our files and keep track of the dates, and also separate words if we wanted to in those files. This is important because you can't use certain punctuation in saving files. So to use an underscore to separate things is probably the easiest method to use.